The disgusting truth about sexuality in the Middle Ages. A time of chivalry, bravery, and romantic tales of love and honor. But what lurks beneath the surface of this supposedly chaste era? A world of sexuality shrouded in mystery where the desires of the flesh knew no bounds and the consequences were dire. Get ready to unravel the hidden, scandalous, and often disgusting truth about sexuality in the Middle Ages. From shocking public displays of carnality to sanctioned deviant practices, we'll peel back the layers of history to reveal a world unlike anything you could imagine. So fasten your seatbelts and get ready for a journey into the unknown as we explore the disgusting truth about sexuality in the Middle Ages. In the minds of the general public, the evolution of sexuality has been rather simple. For centuries, individuals in the Christian West were held back from fully experiencing their sexuality due to the extreme dread of sin and an accompanying ignorance of their own bodies. Those who failed to meet the strict moral requirements set out by the church, the state, and society were shunned and punished. Then, in the middle of the 20th century, as Philip Larkin famously put it, sexual intercourse started in 1963. Between the end of the Chatterley ban and the Beatles' first LP, everything changed. The true, crazy, and fascinating narrative of human sexuality unfolds over thousands of years. The widespread misconception that our medieval forebears lived in a primitive time of religious fanaticism and medical ignorance is at the heart of many long-held beliefs about their sexual practices. Medieval views on sexuality were influenced by Christian principles, although they were more nuanced than modern stereotypes indicate. Long before the sexual revolution, Christian beliefs combined with medieval medical theories to generate some startling and complex notions about sex and a broad array of sexual activities. Men were blamed for unpleasant symptoms. After visiting a brothel, many men in the Middle Ages suffered from unpleasant symptoms, which they often blamed on their sexual behavior. St. Thomas Becket was widely believed to have performed medical miracles, including the healing of leprosy victim Odo de Beaumont in the late 12th century. Much attention has been paid to the common medieval belief that sexual immorality caused sickness. There's just too much of it. Despite popular belief, the medieval stigmatization of sexually transmitted diseases was not entirely grounded on moral judgments. Concerns about prostitutes as potential vectors for sexually transmitted diseases were usually met with completely reasonable responses. As an example, local governments might take a prophylactic measure, such as the 15th century Southwark rules that banned women with a burning illness, likely gonorrhea, from the local stews or brothels. Furthermore, Southwark residents' worries have scientific foundations in the field of medicine. According to the prose Salernitan Questions, a medical text written in the 13th century, a woman may appear unharmed after having sexual relations with a leper, but her subsequent lover will become infected with the disease because the leper's semen will remain in the woman's uterus and turn to putrid vapor due to her cold complexion. This vapor would be absorbed via the open pores of a healthy man's body when it came into touch with his penis. Within a short time, he would get sores all over his body, starting with his genitalia. When seen through the lens of modern medical theory, Arnaud's apprehensions about his tryst with a prostitute made perfect sense. Luckily for him and many others like him, sexually transmitted leprosy could frequently be treated. After having sexual contact with a woman who may be leprous, the English physician John of Gaddesden in the 14th century recommended that men take numerous precautions to prevent contracting the disease. As quickly as possible, he should urinate in or rinse his penis with a solution of vinegar and water. After that, he has to see a phlebotomist for some serious bleeding and then spend the next 3 months purging and using various ointments and pills. Using a knife to remove the dead tissue and then coated the wound with quicklime to heal this poor soul. If these preventative measures don't work, the patient may need to try one of the various treatments for inflamed, itchy, or pustular genitalia that may be found in medical dictionaries and cookbooks. Men who endure swelling of this virile part, having there and behind the prepuce numerous holes, and they suffer lesions, said the 12th century medical encyclopedia Trocula. A poultice may help lessen the edema that this individual is experiencing. We cleanse the ulcerous or damaged neck of the prepuce with warm water and sprinkle on it powder of Greek pitch and dry rot of wood or of worms and rose and root of mullein and bilberry, it continues. While these concoctions were no doubt unpleasant, the surgical cures advocated by the English surgeon John of Auderne in the 14th century were downright gruesome. The male in one of his instances suffered tremendous grievousness of burning and hurting as men do when they are thus injured, when his yard started to enlarge after coitus from the dropping of his own sperm. Using a razor and quicklime, Auderne supposedly cured this poor soul, but the procedure was very painful. Trotula and Auderne both hint at the possibility of an STD in their descriptions, and Auderne even makes the causal connection between sexual activity and his patient's symptoms. But neither author claims that the treatments they provide are effective against illnesses spread via sexual intercourse. It's possible that the guy with the bloated yard was seen as a victim of overindulgence rather than an infectious disease. Too much sexual activity was considered a serious health risk by medieval doctors. Common belief stated that numerous aristocrats had perished from sexual overkill. He died of putrefaction of his genitals and body caused by the frequenting of women, for he was a renowned fornicator. The legend goes about John of Gaunt, the first Duke of Lancaster in the 14th century. It's unlikely that his contemporaries would have drawn similarities between his condition and that of Ralph, Count of Vermandois, whose symptoms also resembled those of venereal illness. This lord from France in the 12th century had just married his third wife when he suddenly became very sick. He disobeyed his doctor's advice that he avoid sexual activity while he was recovering. As soon as the doctor saw the evidence in Ralph's urine that he had done so, he told him to get his affairs in order since he would be dead in 3 days. These men's actions were problematic according to medieval medical theories about the body based on the 4 senses: blood, phlegm, black bile, and yellow bile. The sense of humor system originated from the belief that a healthy body is one in which the humor is in harmony with one another, and that the disease is a result of humoral imbalance. The release of numerous body fluids, including semen, help to maintain excellent health and a healthy balance of humor. As a result, most men need regular sexual encounters as part of a healthy lifestyle, but only when they're done in moderation. The body would get drained from too much sex, and in extreme situations it may even be deadly, as Count Ralph discovered. However, medieval medical experts worried that a lack of sexual activity may be harmful to health, especially for young men. When a person remains sexually inactive for an extended period of time, their bodies accumulate extra semen, which may have negative effects on the heart and other organs. Censorship may cause the celibate to suffer from a variety of negative effects, including mortality, anxiety, and even weight loss. Medieval celibacy was seen as a spiritual virtue, yet it put the celibate's health in peril just as much as that of a profligate. For instance, during the Albigensian Crusade from 1209 to 1229, French King Louis VIII insisted on being true to his wife. According to popular belief, he was the first and only person to die of a direct consequence of celibacy. Period of celibacy of Crusaders. Most Crusaders saw their period of celibacy as a minor nuisance that they would have to bear until they could once again see their spouses. However, for many of Europe's priests in the Middle Ages, celibacy was a permanent status that may force them to make a tough decision. An anonymous 12th century archdeacon of Louvain, who had fought for a long time to stay celibate, was raised against his will to the bishopric of the same city. He went a whole month without having any intercourse, and as a result, his genitalia enlarged and he became sick. His loved ones insisted that he take a lady to himself behind his back, but he remained unmoved. His death came just a few days later. So let us know in the comment box what you all think about the practices of that time period. Like it and share it with your friends, and also please make sure you subscribe to our channel. And thanks for watching.